Hi Mick, how are you going? Can I just ask you firstly for an update on the guys who have injuries, please?
Yeah, no problem. Good morning, everyone. So James Ryan is seeing a specialist, and we are hoping for better news than originally anticipated. Mac Hansen took a bang to his calf, but is improving, and both him and James Lowe are making good strides. Keith Earls and Robbie Henshaw are both in contention as they progress during the week. And apart from that, just some usual bumps and bruises after a physical test match.
So generally more optimistic there, Mick. It must be, I suppose, encouraging to have that news today.
Yeah, we won't have a definitive on James obviously until after he sees the specialist, but certainly there would be more optimism around James than probably what was originally anticipated.
So just to confirm, at this stage, no call-ups, no one else being added to the squad?
No call-ups, no one added to the squad, and at this stage no one ruled out for the match against New Zealand on Saturday night.
Thanks a million, appreciate it.
Thanks, Murray. Michael Glennon.
How's it going, lads? Ronan, just tell me what it's like to be back out there contributing after a frustrating period, I guess, and you know how you're feeling in general in this really exciting time.
Yeah, it's great to be back out there. I've been fortunate enough to get some time in each of the games so far, so I've been absolutely delighted with that. And yeah, as far as contributing, it's been absolutely great. We've felt we've been playing well, so it's just about keeping that momentum going forward, and yeah, we're happy with where we're at the minute.
You're part of the first generation of Irish players who have grown up or come onto the scene after Ireland had beaten the All Blacks for the first time. Do you see them now, maybe you can remember back before 2016, but do you see them now as another team and not something that they had before, this aura of invincibility?
Yeah, I suppose, but like obviously we know how good a team they are, and particularly how good they play in big tournaments. But yeah, obviously, like as you said, I was obviously still in school in 2016 when we beat them for the first time. But yeah, I think just looking forward to this weekend. Just we know it's going to be a massive challenge. It's going to be a huge test match, but one we're really looking forward to. And yeah, that's all I can really say on that one. Right?
Best of luck.
Cheers, thanks.
Thanks, Sinead.
Yeah, hi. Mick, obviously Joe Schmidt so successful with Ireland. You know, what's it going to be like now coming up against a coach obviously with New Zealand that knows Ireland so well, knows Irish rugby so well?
Yeah, it certainly adds another dimension to it. I've kind of maintained kind of very close relationship with Joe over the years, and while we haven't been texting over the last few days, I'm looking forward to catching up with him. He was an amazing coach for Ireland for the years that he was involved, and I think brought Ireland to a new level when he took over in 2013 and had some magnificent success, including a couple of wins against the All Blacks in Chicago and in Dublin. So there's a lot of, I suppose, talk about Joe knowing players inside out and whatever. But to me, I think all teams know each other so well. That I don't necessarily think that's any great advantage. I think we obviously know New Zealand well, having played them 3 times in the Test series last July. So looking forward to it, and looking forward to catching up with Joe.
Thanks. Aisling?
Thanks. Hi, Ronan. Just when you said there that you were still in school back in 2016 for the first All Blacks win, facing them in a quarter-final of a World Cup, has it hit you yet that this is maybe stuff you dreamed about growing up?
Yeah, I suppose it is something you'd obviously dream about. On the big stage, be certainly probably the biggest game of my career so far. But I think just as we've chatted throughout the last while with the lads, like it's just you have to take each game as it comes. You can't play the occasion. You just have to play the game in front of you. And for me personally, I just need to be treating it like another test match. Just make sure I get across all my detail and preparation, and if selected, make sure I'm able to do the job. Yeah.
Thanks. Sorry, if you're not asking a question, if you could go on mute, please, that'd be great. Derek Foley.
Hi, Mick. Oops. Hi, Mick. You've been through a couple of regimes now. In terms of your position as manager since you took over from the late Paul McNaughton, great man that he was. Could you just tell us? And I'm not looking for the answer. Oh, everybody's happier now, because I understand we've got a 17-match winning run going on. Could you just tell us a difference between Andy Farrell's regime and the regime Andy Farrell was in as an assistant coach? Could you tell us something tangible that maybe people back home, our 2 million television viewers I keep talking about, can understand?
People have different ways of coaching, different ways of managing people, different ways of managing organisations. Declan Kidney had one way of doing it. Joe Schmidt had another way, and Andy had a different way. I think probably one of the key differences, I think, really is that it's probably a more relaxed environment under Andy than it would have been under Joe, and that's not to say that the environment under Joe was in any way poor. I think Andy has obviously introduced a lot of, I suppose, maybe softer skills, such as getting the families involved. There's a lot of, I suppose, downtime for players and staff. They're not always on, and maybe that has come about because of maybe the change of the environment from Carton House into the HPC in Dublin, where you don't feel that you're at work all day long from early morning to late in the evening. So that has certainly helped as well. But like ultimately, to me, I think environments are all about players, and environments are created by players as much as they're created by management. I think it's one in all in, and certainly I think the players currently they're an extremely happy bunch. But that comes, I suppose, with winning as well. But they genuinely have huge respect for each other. They get on extremely well. They're the tightest group that I would have been involved in, or would have witnessed, or would have seen. And that obviously helps as well. There's great friendships among all 33 players. They're well able to have the fun. They're well able to enjoy their downtime. And as I say, that's probably. I'm not saying it's hugely different, but certainly it's a little bit different to what it was maybe under Joe, where when we were based in Carton House from 24/7, you felt, I suppose, that you were at work all the time. So it has been a very nice change up. So the environment around us has probably changed a little bit as well. And then the other thing I would say is that there's been a massive, I suppose, involvement with the families, not only in France, but certainly right through for the last number of years since Andy took over. And at the moment, families are arriving in Saturday morning of the game here. They came in, they had lunch, they met up with the players, they enjoyed a few hours with them, and that again I think has been a huge help to the environment, just in terms of you can't be on all the time, and having wives, kids, partners around the place certainly has helped the players relax and switch off for that time as well. So really, it's we look upon, I suppose, everything as a squad, but we look upon the families as actually being part of the squad as well. And the fact that I think that takes a lot of, I suppose, stress out of from players, because they're not kind of, I suppose, concerned and worried. Well, how's my wife or partner going to get to the hotel? How's she going to get to the match? How's she going to get the tickets, etc., etc. So I'd say all part of the mix, I think, that has made this a really enjoyable and great place to be.
Thank you very much. Very competitive. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Rory O'Connor.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, guys. Mick, just to follow on from that, we often focus on the changes and the differences between the different coaches, but how much of the bedrocks of Ireland's success and the fact that you're going into this game with such confidence is based on what Joe achieved, and how much did Andy actually keep in place in terms of frameworks that he then was able to tweak from a very strong position?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Rory. I think a lot, to be honest with you, and I think if you remember back initially when Andy took over, we didn't have Paul O'Connell involved at that stage, so Paul came in, and Paul probably was one of Joe's biggest fans, and I think as a coach he's actually learnt a huge amount from Joe, and he's, I think, put into practice a lot of the habits that Joe would have instilled into the team, and even uses, I think, some of the language that Joe would have used as well. So I think that there has been a lot of what Joe did in his period of time, I think we still use, but obviously with the, you know, Andy and as head coach and Mike Catt in as attack stroke backs coach, I think there's been a fair bit of tweaking as well. We play a very different game to what we played under Joe. Much more, I suppose, ball and hand focused and 15-man focused. But just to go back to the question, certainly Paul has, you know, honestly, I would say brought a lot of what Joe brought to the team, and no doubt that we benefit from that still.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rory. I think, is that you, Simon? There was your hand up. Sorry, I can't see the name. So the gentleman in the red or orange top, if you could, yeah, fire ahead. Yeah.
Hi, it's Moreno from Sky Italia. The question for Ronan Kelleher. The match against South Africa was a brutal one from the physical point of view. Okay, it was another knockout stage, but we were there. Which is the level of intensity of the match that you're expecting against the All Blacks? Do you think it's going to be another level, a most important one?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a similar level to the last two games we faced. Obviously, the last two games for us were crucial games in terms of the where we finished up in the group, and looking forward to the quarter-final. But I think it'll definitely be a similar level of intensity now. We're into quarter-final rugby here now, so it's obviously do or die. And yeah, it'll be probably a similar level again to what we faced against South Africa and Scotland, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And if there's no further questions, we will wrap it up there. We'll close off this section.
Peter, sorry, just maybe one. Just on the timeline for James, is he seeing a specialist today, and when do you think you might know more?
Yeah, he's seen the specialist today, so we should know more either later this evening, tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, or whatever. So certainly within the next 24 hours, we should have a clearer picture on where James is at.